All right, everybody. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Somewhere in the world, it's morning, afternoon, day, or night. So, welcome to Mac on the Move. And one of the things I want to talk to you about, and for this, I'm working on a video explaining what the DSA is, where it started, where they came from, what they stand for, and show you several clips and everything of where we're headed in this country. This is just to bring you up to date. It's only going to be a small blurb in there for as far as me speaking to you all on this subject and everything. I'm learning a lot about them and everything, but what I want to do is I want to show you several clips or documents and stuff, which is really starting to reflect on what the DSA actually is. And if you're not familiar, the DSA is actually the Democratic side progressives or leftists, however you want to discuss it or however you want to talk about them. But they stand for the Democratic Socialists of America. And they have some pretty wild views on what they want to do with this country and what they want to, what their view is, where we stand as a country, and what they feel that needs to be changed. So there's several points and everything with it, and more than likely we're going to start off with just a clear picture and everything of what their new goals that they've established are. And then we'll go in and show different clips and everything, interviews and whatnot. This will be probably several videos coming out. I mean, because I don't want it to be too long or anything like that. I want to be able to put it in here and explain a little bit, show you what's going on, show you how many are actually in the government and everything currently as we speak. So without further ado, let's get into this. So going over this first slide and everything that there is, again, this is the Democratic Socialist DSA. If you look up in the right-hand corner of that chart there and everything, is what the DSA is. That's their symbol and everything, and it stands for the Democratic Socialists of America. And these are the 9 points of their new platform, which is, and we'll go over them one by one, and so that people can understand that this is what these people are really serious about. They want to abolish the Senate. They want to replace the President and Supreme Court. They want to defund the Department of War, which, defund the Department of War and everything. And later on, further on down, you're going to see about, defund the police and everything. That's all part of it. Abolish the carceral state, which, this is where they're talking about abolish all the prisons and, de facto detention centers and everything. They just want pretty much, anarchy, throughout the country without anything. And their belief is that if they get rid of the police and, bring in more money and give it to the people, that everything's going to be good. One of the things that people don't realize is that criminals are criminals for a reason, and criminals need to be put in prison for a reason. So, I'm not going to get too far into that, but this is just some of the things and viewpoints of mine on this chart. Oh, by the way, one of the other points is it's free Palestine, okay? Don't know where that comes from because, we're America. We're not Palestine, but for some reason, these people believe that we have to side with the Palestinian culture, the Palestinians, and that's the reason why you see so many Palestine flags all over the country. Michigan, Dearborn, Michigan, to be more precise and everything. Minnesota, have you noticed that most of these protests and everything has gone on since Trump administration took office? There's Palestinian and Palestine flags all over the place. I don't understand it. This is America. This is not Palestine. Another one, end sanctions. Don't know where that comes from. Abolish ICE and grant amnesty for all. So all these people that came in here, my apologies, frog in the throat. Abolish an ICE and give amnesty to everybody. So all the illegals that came in, and I mean illegals, if you break into this country and you're here illegally, that makes you illegal. That's a crime. That is criminal. Okay? We have laws on the books for that. There's also, and they just want to give amnesty to everybody. So, whether you belong here or not. So, public ownership of major companies, major corporations. So that's one of the aspects that they want to take over production. I'm sorry. I have a problem with corporations as it is already and stuff. And in other words, you want to give government control of corporations and have them do everything. We got enough problems with certain people within this country that are committing fraud. So no, that's a no-go. This is a capitalist country. This isn't a socialist country. And remake elections nationwide. So if you haven't heard or anything, one of the things that they're talking about when they talk about abolish the Senate, remake elections nationwide and everything, they want to abolish the Senate. They basically want to get rid of the president and bring in a CEO type business type person and everything, which we currently have, and to me, knowing the bits of business and everything running the country is a plus for our country, but under a capitalist, institution, not socialist institution. So that's just those things there, and I'm totally against that. We have checks and balances for a reason, and they're talking about their checks and balances. There's no checks and balances with what they're talking about. So now to throw it back in here and everything, let different clips come in. If I have something to add and whatnot, I'll add that. But again, let's continue.
Democratic socialism being just a merger between the democratic political system and a socialist economic system run by workers. The Democratic Socialists of America was formed back in 1982 and remained a fringe organization really until Bernie Sanders brought it to the main stage in 2016. Even at that time, they had just about 5,000 members. But interest was sparked in young people. Then we saw DSA-based candidates like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez start winning local and national elections. The organization's footprint expanded, pushing far-left proposals like Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. We see its policies most impactful in urban settings, which the DSA focuses on. Heavy tax burdens, regulations, they're implemented radical bail reform, sparking fiscal and safety concerns. Unlike earlier years, there is now a political litmus test. The DSA formally adopted a program this month, so to receive an endorsement, a politician must support amnesty for illegals, abolishing the presidency, the Senate, the Supreme Court, and having these different bodies serve the House instead, also defunding the Department of War, even abolishing prisons. While some candidates on the left still try and keep the Democrat Socialist title a bit hazy, the DSA's national co-chair said on Fox News Sunday yesterday, establishment Democrats are in for a fight.
And then third, amnesty for all immigrants. We saw that one coming. And number 4, defunding the Department of War. This is real. And these are the candidates that are winning across America.
Well, absolutely. And just real quick on the vetting aspect. Yeah, Graham Platter, the people who brought him into the race only vetted him in 3 days. Vetting typically takes weeks. So Democrats are going to potentially end up in the same position they were with Graham Platter. But on this, yeah, Aisha, what they're telling us is they want to dismantle the system from within. And you look at countries like Venezuela, where socialism took over. Hugo Chavez was democratically elected. He promised on the same things we're hearing from some of these socialists.
Put up on the screen a few of the things that are part of your platform, and I want to ask you, just give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate.
True.
Okay. Replace the presidency and Supreme Court as we now know them. Abolish ICE.
Absolutely.
Abolish borders and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally.
As a long-term plan, yep.
Defund the Pentagon.
Absolutely.
Abolish prisons, at least in large part.
Yeah, again, that as part of a long-term program, yeah.
Okay, so no prisons. Government or public ownership of most large corporations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is just one video content that I've been working on and producing and putting it, learning different things with Final Cut Pro and everything, trying to learn the tools of the trade and everything as far as trying to get better with my content and stuff. So hopefully you enjoy the video and everything. But in this video clip that I've done and everything, it's basically going over the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, and what their beliefs are and what they're looking forward to doing, different news clips and everything that I put together. And at the end, it shows, basically in the ultimate picture, this is what they stand for. So, hopefully you get something out of this. But like it, share it, comment down below so I can continue to bring content that you're willing to have a conversation with. But my whole point is that we as the American people need to wake up to the things that are going on in our country, and I really want to make that point. And everybody has their own opinion. I understand that. If you agree with me, you agree with me. If you disagree, you disagree. And that's fine. But I'm just bringing out the facts as I have seen them in all feeds. And you have some news media that's pointing all this out, and you have some that's not. So this is what DSA is basically what I've found out so far, and I look forward to bringing more. I have some other clips and everything that I'll be bringing in the next video. So stay sharp, keep moving, because movement keeps us younger. And good day, good evening, good night. See you on the next one.